Welcome again, everybody, to another edition of First Person, sponsored, as always, by the Ruin Camp Farm Drainage Company in Fort Laramie. 80 years experience, farm, residential, and commercial. If you got wet fields, they'll make water work for you. Call Phil Barhorst at Ruin Camps. It is the season of football two-a-days, with the season about 3 weeks away, and we find ourselves this afternoon with a guy that we talk to a lot here in Covington, Ohio, the head coach of the Bucks, and a frequent visitor. I think this is 4 or 5 times for you on First Person over the years. Dave Miller, head coach of the Covington Bucks, and it is a busy time for you, and I imagine a reflective time for you, given the fact that the kind of season that you had last year, the disappointment at the end of that season, and yet here you are right back here with another group of Covington kids ready to go in 2014.
Absolutely. I told them the other day there's no place I'd rather be. Obviously with my family first, but this is an extended family, so I always feel a little bit like Christmas with 2 days roll around. So we're ready to roll.
I want to talk a little bit about 2013, because you won your 4th straight title last year in the Cross County Conference, and yet you lose a heartbreaking game, your last game of the season in the district final to Marion Local, a game in which their coach, Tim Goodwin, says, Covington, give them credit, they were 7 points away from being state champions. And I say that, he says that, because I think a lot of people who saw that game, who saw the state tournament, knows those are the 2 best teams in the state that played that night at Pickwick. Talk a little bit about getting over that particular night, because we talked then, I know it was a bitter thing for your kids and a bitter thing for you.
Well, first off, I appreciate the compliment from Coach Goodwin. We have a lot of respect for their program,
yes,
and from yourself too. I don't know if we do pull that one out. You still got to go win it on the field. They've got a heck of a tradition up there. Their kids know how to get it done. We would be in new territory at that point, so I can't really say that would have happened. I don't know if bitterness is the right way to say that. I think that I was very proud of our kids on how they performed. They maxed out. That's all we expect from them every year. Ultimately, in the end, I still believe this, and I'm not saying it's not cliche. Coaches lose them, the kids win them, and we could have done some things differently. I think that would put our kids in a great situation to win that game. 5 minutes to go in the game, we got the ball. I didn't do a very good job play calling, but our kids, I feel really, I don't know if the word's satisfied, but feel pretty good about the way that they maxed out, and it's everything they bought in, so darn well, and to the final whistle. And really, the only disappointment I had, not about winning a state championship, was not having 2 more weeks with those guys, because they were great, and just fun to be with. But the way they played that night was just, they're going to take that with them for the rest of their lives.
Dave, one thing stands out in that game to me. One play stands out in that game to me, and I will say this, I think it's one of the best, if not, I can name the 3 best high school football games I've seen in the last 10 years. That was certainly one of the 3, but that 4th and 10 play, where they have the ball at midfield, it's 4th down and 10, they go for it on the pass, get about 12 yards, and they do it, not out of desperation, they do it out of respect for your kids, for A.J. Ouellette, who already had about 235 yards rushing on the night, and they admitted afterwards, we didn't know if we could stop them if they got the ball again. Special moment. Yeah,
well, definitely. Like I said earlier, great programs and great teams and great kids make great plays. 4th and 10, their backs against the wall, and they go get it done.
Yeah.
Just a lot of respect for them on that. That was a tremendous play call, and a guy that's been there for 7 times. So, again, credit to them. They went and got it done, and our kids battled, and just turned out the way it did. So,
Covington head coach Dave Miller with us this week on First Person. I want to also bring up the fact, and we mentioned this a moment ago, and I've written about it before, I don't think there's anybody in this area that does a better job of rebuilding or coming back and retooling and getting ready to go from year to year. And this year, I know this is the right word, a little bit bittersweet for you, because you have to do it without A.J. Ouellette. You have to do it without the Bordelon kid and some of those other seniors that you lost last year that were so integral to what you did. And it makes that game all the more poignant because you get an A.J. Ouellette once in a lifetime, maybe, down at OU now doing very well. We'll talk about that in a moment. But you do a great job year in, year out, and that's what other people say. Your colleagues say, Dave gets them going.
Well, I get too much credit because this is a place where you can do it very easy because the kids here expect, and the community expects them not to rebuild or reload. And I'll be honest, I mean, that was a great group that we lost. I have a lot of very special relationships that we've made and just memories. With all the kids, I can go all the way back to 2007. Jeremy Yinks is now coaching for us, so you build those relationships. But that was a really special group of kids that bought in from day one. And the neat thing is, right now, we've got a very young group. We've got 4 seniors, but there are in our junior class, sophomore class, freshman class, potential AJs, Daltons, Jordan Wolves. You go down the list there, and they've seen the way that you're supposed to do it, and they understand what it means to have that mantle passed to them, and they're supposed to step up and take the reins, and they're doing that.
For the fact of A.J. Ouellette, who I believe, and I've said this, I think he was the best small school player in the state of Ohio last year, if not the best. I can name one other that would be right there with him. We wrote about it. A lot of people in this particular area know about it. He did not get, I don't want to say drafted, he did not get a scholarship offer on National Signing Day, and yet he has walked on to Ohio University. I wanted you to take a moment and talk a little bit about AJ down there and the fact that he's alive and well has worked his way well into Frank Solich's plans already as a walk-on freshman.
No doubt in my mind that was going to happen, and it'll continue to happen. He's special because of the way he approaches the game and he approaches life. And I told Coach Burrow when they got him, you're really lucky to have him, that he's walking on here, and you'll find out soon enough what he does for your team. He makes everybody around you better. And he's just a special person. In the 4 years we had him, a kid that probably had every right to be big-headed and think that he had, it was entitled to some degree. Never had that issue. He worked as hard as any kid I've ever had, and had some athleticism with it, but he enhanced that, and he's going to continue to do it. I saw him the other day, and he looks great, and he's going to make a huge impact. I've heard already, he already is down there with the Bobcats. So they'll find out pretty quick. I think they already know, but they're finding out.
So the fact of A.J. Ouellette's in high school football, and I'll mention another one, in Austin Hutchins, who was a quarterback down in Craig County North that greatly impressed me in his game with you last year.
Right.
What's wrong with the process, Dave, that those kids that, like AJ's at 4.3 speed, bench presses 430, 435 pounds, great student, great attitude, got the right kind of head on him. What's wrong with the process that those kids get overlooked?
I used to be a big believer, and I think I even shared this with AJ, hey, they'll find you. If you're good enough, they'll find you. But I'm not so sure that's the case anymore. It's almost become where, and unfortunately for AJ, he didn't get to go to many camps. He always had hamstring issues after spring with the track. Yeah. And I think you almost have to go, if you're not in a big school, you almost have to go do that. And I find myself now telling kids, hey, if that's what you want to do, you got to go, because they need to see you. They need to time you with their own watch to believe that you do run a 4.4, even though he ran it multiple places. It's unfortunate it's come to that, because it seems like to me they used to do their homework a lot better, and they knew this kid can play at our level. And I'm not going to tell coaches. They call me, and we've gotten a little more interest now. I've heard from more coaches. And I'm not going to tell them, I've got a Division I kid, or a kid like A.J. Ouellette, unless we've got a kid like that. But there's something wrong with that. I think that they got to be on your campus to really show you, that they're that good. I don't know. I've never coached college football, so I can't say they should be out recruiting better or something like that. But it's a shame that didn't happen for him, because he certainly deserved it.
But they're going to find out soon enough.
They are finding out.
They're going to find out soon enough. Let's talk quickly about the Bucs in 2014, and I know you're excited for your triple option offense. You got a young man here that you told me last year going to be very, very special, and that's one Jared Williams, your returning quarterback, just a junior.
Right.
can come back and play, and you're going to build around him, aren't you?
Well, around him, and we also have another name, Nathan Bly, who who got a lot of reps as a freshman, kind of in the same situation Jared was in 2012, where he got to play half a game. And right now, both those kids can run our offense. So, and then we've got some others that are in the wings that I don't like relying on one person. Jared is obviously a returning starter, and he's a special young man. But he's got some teammates around him that are going to help support him, and it's not a one-man show. We run the triple for a reason. They have to take away 3 of those threats instead of just one. So, but his role is certainly big. And Nathan stepped up and taken a little bit off of his plate, I think, and making it easier for him. We can move him around a little more probably. So. You
got off to a great start last year, and I thought you made a statement for area football, especially the Cross-County Conference, with your opening win up at St. Henry against one of the perennial big dogs of Division 5, 6 football for years and years and years. You get that opportunity again this year because they pay you a visit here on August the 29th. That's a bigger game than a lot of people probably realize because you've got something to prove, and they certainly have something to prove as well.
There's no question. Those wins, I'm glad we have that contract with them, but that win up there is critical because I think they're going to be very hard to come by because Coach Luthman, we got him on his first game.
Yeah.
He's a great coach.
And you got Mitch Stallman in his first start at quarterback. He's a very good one.
It was good timing, I think, in a lot of ways, and that's going to be a heck of a battle. You know what they've got. The knee camp kid, we saw him as a JV running back. He's special. You can tell he's a junior, and he's solid. So they've got a great 15 seniors, whatever it is, and Coach Luthman is a great coach. So their staff is going to do great things getting them prepared, and our kids understand what the magnitude of August 29th is.
And it has to make you feel good too, because we just were recently up there, did some stories with Mitch Stallman, in which Brad Luthman and their whole staff paid Covington and the Cross-County Conference quite the compliment and said, hey, forget about that. It's just like our league. You got to come to play, and they were good that night, and they're good every year. Covington Bucks are for real.
Well, we appreciate that, and we feel very much the same about them, and that's why they're on the schedule because we want the best. We know at some point they're going to be. I think this year, they're on their way the way they finished out their season. So that'll be a big one. It's a playoff atmosphere. Our kids understand, what they're getting into here in a few weeks.
This guy dodges nobody in high school football. He likes to play the best, and I've said this time and time again in this area, one of the absolute best teachers in the game of football, Dave Miller, head coach of the Covington Bucks. Stay healthy, my friend.
Thanks, Sonny.
Best of luck to you.
Thank you.
That wraps up this edition of First Person Again, sponsored by the Ruin Camp Farm Drainage Company up in Fort Loramie. 80 years of experience, farm, residential, and commercial. They'll make water work for you. For Coach Miller and the sponsors, thank you again for your support on this, our 5th anniversary of PressProsMagazine.com. We'll see you again here next time with another edition of First Person.